So Tulsi had a town hall earlier today, and it was in Muscatine, Iowa, which for some reason I don't think I've ever heard of before. Iowa's the first in the nation state, and she was out there giving a town hall, and I've listened to the first part, so I'm going to go back and listen to the rest of it later. Um, but I want you to hear this part because there was a video by Ron Placone earlier this week where he was basically stating that Tulsi was wavering on Medicare for All. And I, didn't want to believe that. Not to say that he was lying, because I know he wasn't. He's been someone that's been very consistent about his support for her. So I'm going to play the clip, and then I'll give my position on it.
We want to make sure that we are building a brighter future together. And let's bring the diversity of the ideas that we have standing on this foundation as fellow Americans to move us together forward. And by doing so, then we can address the systemic problems that we're dealing with in things like healthcare, and making sure that no matter who you are, where you come from, how little money you have in your pocket, you're able to get the quality care that you need. Period. Now, there have been some questions raised about my position, how it contrasts with other presidential candidates on healthcare. I think this Medicare for All plan is the foundational core concept of how we achieve this, how we make sure that there is healthcare for all. I think it's also for those who are members of unions or those who have employer-sponsored plans that they want to keep. They have the freedom to do that, but they have the freedom to keep the plan that they have. But that does not take away or undermine the ability to make sure that everyone is able to get the care they need when they need it. When you look at every other developed country in the world that has some form of universal health care plan, whether it be a single payer or all the different models that are out there, every one of them recognizes that there is a balance that's there. And there's a freedom of choice that's there for people. If you want to stick with your employer-sponsored plan, that's fine, but that will not stop us in our mission and our objective of making sure that every American is able to get that quality care. I was asked by a reporter recently, well, gosh, Tulsi, that seems like such a compromise. Compromise to who and for what? My thought process is very mission-focused. And when we recognize the opportunity that we have as a country to bring down the cost of care that we are already paying right now by eliminating the profits that big insurance makes off of our current model and delivering a health care for all system, this is not a compromise for us to be able to meet that mission.
So she pretty much just validated everything Ron had said about her. And his channel is really nice. I think he suffers a problem of having a bunch of subs and people that don't really come back and check his stuff out. So I'm going to leave a link to it in the description box. Understand that when I critique candidates, including the ones I like, I'm doing it from the position of a pre-established view that they seem to align with in the past, but are either no longer supporting, or it kind of feels a little muddy. Now, I've also said that with Tulsi, I think she's become too used to the idea that she's like the one Democrat that Republicans will actually back. And when she starts using words as, in our single payer, in our Medicare for All system, you'll be able to keep your employer-based plan. It's like, but then that's not Medicare for All. And we've had the exact same thing with Harris, which I hate even having to compare those two, but the bottom line is single payer is very simple. Medicare for All is very simple. Get rid of private insurance because you recognize that Big Pharma has price gouged the living hell out of regular people who are trying to get care. That's why that's why it's called single payer. It's a government-based plan that is automatically covering of all Americans. And it's not that hard to define. And see, what is going to piss me off even more is that she and a lot of these people who are trying to make themselves sound like they're so concerned. And you heard her say freedom of choice. I guarantee you that whatever healthcare plan, whatever Democrat pushes, whichever, doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Biden, whether it's Sanders, who is the ideal choice here, whether it's Harris, every single alternative that, and these are all plans that have variables. So I'm actually being very admitting of the fact that their plans aren't all the same. They are all going to be labeled as socialist, uh, nanny state, government takeovers of healthcare. Every single one of them. And it's simply by the fact that they say they want to cover more people and have anything to do with not bootlicking for private insurance for big pharma. And that's why it's so aggravating that she seems to actually think if I just go around saying, "Oh yeah, if you like the plan you had before, it can stick under the Medicare for All system." No, it can't. That's a lie. Look, it's going to be like this. Either the healthcare plan she supports is Medicare for All, which that sure as hell didn't sound like it, or the one that she's backing is something else that she's trying to trick actual progressives like myself into believing is single payer, and it's not. And like, you don't know how much it bothers me to sit here and have to rebuke her over what I thought was a policy that was a non-starter at this point. I mean, I'm looking at the comment section for Ron's video when I saw it earlier this week, and it had all these people talking about how disappointed they were, how she was their, in some cases, top candidate, but they're losing her over this issue. And I don't understand why all of these Democrats are just waffling on this. It's been everybody. It's been Warren. It's been Harris. These people signed on to Sanders' single-payer healthcare bill in 2017. And, we all thought, okay, they're at least backing this as a co-sponsor. That's something. And, like, it's been a bunch of watering down ever since. And my thing is that the main reason people like Tulsi is because they thought she was uncompromising in her positions. She's the kind of person who can go on Fox News, and we're going to actually do this segment right after this one. I'm recording these back to back, but she's the kind of person who could go on Fox and get asked a bunch of smearing questions about her allegiances to Syria and Iran. And I say allegiances with the air quotes. I don't know why I didn't do them. But she's the kind of person who can go up there, be asked those ridiculous questions, and clarify, I don't back these places. I just don't want to go to war with them, which is why I'm not going on TV to condemn every single thing they've done. Like, the U.S. is some perfect place where, we're darling angels. And, this is the complete opposite of that. This is her effectively saying to Big Pharma, I'm going to come at you from a compromised position because, contrary to popular belief, and this clip is kind of like her trying to say all the Democrats that are progressive, or at least the ones that are in charge, are like, my way or the highway. No, I've actually seen the host of the Humanist Report, whose name escapes me. I think it's Mike something, but he was going and mentioning that in a hypothetical Sanders presidency, or the presidency of any Democrat who wins, right, that actually backs single payer, he admitted that they'll probably have to compromise or otherwise not implement the full entirety of the plan they want to get the most votes. And the thing that he was saying was that when you go into a compromise with the compromise position, right, so you start off, in this case, instead of I want single payer, plain and simple, Medicare for all, elimination of private insurance. You go from, oh, well, you start off by saying, oh, well, we'll keep some private insurance. You've already basically thrown in the major component, because all these people are looking out for is Big Pharma. Not me, not any other regular person, not the 30 million people who don't have health insurance. And it's like, how do you even completely miss the point of being firmly committed to this idea as a candidate and as president, but theoretically implementing something that you can improve over time to be a full reflection of that. So I'm disappointed. She's still one of the, along with Yang and Sanders, one of the three candidates I back, but it's kind of aggravating because, like I said, all of these Republicans, along with Trump, this election cycle are going to take any Democratic healthcare proposal and say it's socialist, it's government takeover of healthcare, and there's pretty much nothing we can do about it. except be unabashedly committed to it and, fight back against the smearing. So when you go into it already acquiescing to it and trying to pretend to be moderate, like, no, man, pick a side.